And we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is Real Time Talk with Eagle 3D Streaming. I'm Quentin Anderson, and today our guest is Pedro Ibanez. Pedro is with Bartlett Cocke General Contractors, and
Yep.
he is a VDC manager, and he is young and passionate 3D enthusiast, always learning current technologies of the 3D realm, works in the construction industry, and continuously looks to merge the 3D AEC worlds together. Pedro, how are you doing today?
Pretty good. Couldn't be happier, man.
And thank you so much for joining us. I know you've got a very, very busy schedule, so we really appreciate you taking some time to sit with us. Let's dive into your story. So, how did you get to where you are today and into this world of VDC? Can you kind of just walk us through a little glimpse and snapshot into your professional career?
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Um, a lot of people can feel the same way. I guess a way for me to explain it is I'm in love with 3D stuff. Whatever, if it's 3D, it catches my eye and I start, admiring and all that. So, from an early age, I started to trying to comprehend how that thing happens, how people make video games possible and all that, right? Ever since I was a kid. Then I grew up. I decided to kind of go something towards kind of like architecture, or design. I just want to design, right? I just want to use 3D software, and so that got me started. And then from architecture in college to university here in San Antonio, Texas, UTSA, uh, uh, I transitioned to construction science management. So at this point, I'm thinking like, I think that this is it. I don't think I'm going to be using too much 3D stuff. SketchUp back then was the tool to go. It was free. It was when it was owned by Google. So I spent a lot of time learning it. So now I have an idea of what it is to create in 3D, specifically for topics or things related to architecture and construction. And during college, during my time being in university at UTSA for construction science management, BIM comes out. Uh, it becomes a thing. So building information modeling. Um, it's this new thing. It's very new, right? It's not even a must-have lecture or class. It was like back then it was a, how do you call it when you don't have, it's not part of the curriculum, an elective.
Hmm.
Um, and that's where I learned that in construction I can still do 3D stuff. And I said I want that. So I saw that it was like the best of both worlds, or what architects do, using 3D software, and how a construction company can use that same 3D software and still keep working with 3D stuff. So I said, I'm gonna do BIM. That's what I want. And then I start learning more about Autodesk. So Revit, Navisworks, AutoCAD, of course. So things like that. So now I'm on this company, Bartlett Cocke, for that was in 2013. So 11 years now. And that's kind of like what I've been doing for the last 10 plus years.
Yeah, and so it sounds like we had an interesting or you had an interesting construction, and then you found a way to marry that with 3D. And your current position is sort of a representation of that. Would you say where you're obviously you're in the construction space, but you're using 3D as sort of your or that's one of your everyday tools and involved in
Oh
your
yeah,
profession.
every day. Yeah, every
And,
single day.
And with the BIM, was it kind of interesting when BIM first became a word or it started to emerge? Did you see the potential for it back then, or was it something that was
Absolutely.
okay?
Yeah.
So, what were some of your early thoughts about BIM?
Well, my now boss, Luis Baruman, he came to the university, right, and he gave a presentation, amazing everybody with their mouth open, like wow, like Bartlett Cocke, they're using like this amazing software, or they're using technology, right, like amazingly. And I call him just to say hi, like, hey, I really love what you show, like what you're doing. I already do that, like in my free time. Like I use SketchUp. The uh, just to give you this as an example, the easiest way to utilize 3D in construction is. Am I still showing the screen?
Let's see. Mm, yes. Okay. I have to switch over to it, and I've done that now, so we can see your screen now.
So I paused the video here where I'm just showing the site being utilized, right? In the construction industry, there's this thing called site logistics.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a document that that is required by the owner. You're showing the owner how you're planning to utilize their site. You need to show your plan of attack, how things are gonna get built, where you're gonna have the entrances, what streets you might have to close, all that stuff, right?
Right.
So pretty simple stuff. And back then it was just done in 2D. Uh,
Wow.
Sometimes fancy ones were done in PDF using Bluebeam or things like that. And I said, why not do it 3D? So I can do this really easy. Uh, Google SketchUp lets you utilize Google Earth or
Mm-hmm.
Google Maps to capture the terrain, right? And I can just bring or extrude 3D masses to represent the buildings, and everything can be changed in colors and all that. And then that's what we call the 3D site logistics. And that was the cherry on top of the cake back then. That was like 11 uh, years ago. And then it transitioned to what I uh, told you earlier about 4D schedule. But we're talking 10 years ago. So 3D site logistics. That was how I started using it in the company.
Yeah, and I'm switching back to our cameras now. Let's talk about 3D site logistics a little bit more, especially as your role. So you're a VDC manager.
Mhm.
For some of those that are watching that are may not fully know exactly what that is, can you just give us a little snippet of some of your day to day and what exactly that kind of looks
Yeah,
like?
by far the main uh, thing that I have to do, it's called coordination, BIM, coordination, building information modeling,
Hmm.
coordination, and that's where um when I get the different 3D models, from the architect, one from the structural engineer, one from the mechanical engineer, one from the electrical engineer, fire protection, and so on. And I put them together, I merge them. And each of these models, they were created by this engineer that working in a silo. He's working isolated. He doesn't know what the architect is doing, or he has an idea, right? He has their floor plans, but he doesn't know what the plumbing engineer is doing. He doesn't know what the mechanical engineer is doing. So when I bring all those models together, sure enough, you're gonna have clashes. You're gonna have conflicts between them, and it's my job to fix those conflicts. And then once it's fixed, we give the model back to them, and they start prefabricating everything. And the construction project, they get those prefabbed pieces on site, and they put it up, and perfect. They don't have a single issue at work at on site. Yeah.
And in order to properly fix those, you necessarily have to have a background in construction and be able to 3D model. Is that correct? Because you in order to first identify a collision or a conflict and then be able to resolve it, would you say it's fair to say that you have to have a background in construction and engineering to know how that these should
Oh
be
yeah,
resolved?
of course. Yeah, when I started, it was pretty slow, kind of like hoping for them to like, okay, who's gonna fix this? electrical or HVAC, the duct, who's gonna change? But now as you start getting the experience, now you know more about the trades and codes, what things can't be done in a construction project,
Hmm.
and depending on the type of construction project. So yes, so definitely you need the construction background to kind of tell them or to make things go smoother and faster to fix
Hmm.
clashes.
Yeah, and this is a question that I have, and this may be a dumb question, but I've been hearing this term all the time, and that's CDE. Um, is your team using a CDE, which or what are your thoughts? Have you heard this
That's
term before? Or
that's a very interesting question because I haven't.
it is
I don't know what it stands for. I
I don't
cannot.
I don't even know what it stands for. It's sort of a central repository where all the data is stored. So or in your case, when you're working with your teams and they upload their piece, where does all that data go? Where is it stored in Autodesk Cloud or
Yeah, that's the standard as we speak. Um, they upload to this Autodesk Cloud platform that we create for one for each project.
oh, cool.
So they have a folder for that. They just go in the folder and they upload. I was telling you about an example of a arts and media building that we're doing in Corpus Christi for
Mm-hmm.
A&M.
Mm-hmm.
We are using Autodesk ACC. We call it ACC, Autodesk Construction Cloud.
Okay.
So we're using ACC for that project, for example. And sure enough, I came in at 8 this morning and I already had emails saying that the guys doing the company doing ductwork, they have uploaded um, their models. I get notifications like, oh, okay, it's ready for me. I can already jump in and see if we have conflicts or not.
Cool. So your team will create an AC or a project space in Autodesk Construction Cloud at the beginning of a project, and then you'll sort of share that with all the teams, and then they'll work,
Yeah.
and then they'll upload their piece to it, and then you can download and check it.
Yes, definitely.
Um, and then are you also able to edit and modify their models, or how does the revision and modification process go?
Not really. It could, in a way. It's possible. So in theory, it's possible. But we're trying to get, that liability out of our hands.
Hmm.
One example, a data center from Microsoft.
Hmm.
When these are several companies that are working, like in a typical building that we do, you might have four companies working together,
Hmm.
your HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and fire protection. But like in a data center, my God, there are like 10 or more companies that are working together, and we cannot touch those. They need to upload, and we tell them what's wrong, and they just need to re-upload again. But yeah, with another other projects, you might have high tolerance, or you can be real chill about it and say like, I got it, I'll fix this. It's just a matter of lifting this duct 10 inches, something things like that. But
Right. That makes sense. Yeah, it kind of depends on the sensitivity of the project and whether, you know,
yeah.
yeah.
But I always try to not I'm not a Revit guru. Revit, that's another software. Revit, it's what they use now. It's kind of like the standard,
Hmm.
and I try to stay out of it. Why? Because I'm not a guru on that. Maybe if I was, I would feel comfortable enough, but
So in the Autodesk universe, which softwares do you find yourself using in your
every
day?
single day, Navisworks.
Navisworks. And for
Once a week, Revit. Twice, thrice a week, AutoCAD.
so so why is Navisworks sort of your choice, and what are you doing in Navisworks that makes it
It's
necessary?
Navisworks is kind of like the software that was created for my position or for to do coordination.
Hmm.
So it lets you it lets you bring a lot of models in, and it stays, it's the word, um, like that you can navigate it without issues. That you can navigate the project. It doesn't look choppy or laggy
Hmm.
when you are orbiting, like other 3D software like Revit. When you just move the camera a little, you have to wait for it to completely re-render,
Right.
and that makes it just slow and tedious. But Navisworks was I have to use it because it does that. It has the ability to do clash detection,
Hmm.
graph multiple uh, models and tell you exactly where colliding, where geometry is colliding. So
Right. So yeah, it probably does some sort of conversion maybe that makes the geometry a little bit more lightweight, so you can render it
yeah.
faster. And yeah, so part of it sounds like your responsibilities are the coordination. Does visualization also tie into some of your role in day-to-day activities?
Yes, yes, that's how I started. That's how I became in love with Unreal.
Hmm.
I started creating animations, right, for site logistics. So we discussed site logistics is just how we're going to utilize the project. And then just these ideas, they start evolving or growing organically. I wasn't like I'm not the only person that thought, oh, what if we just create this logistics, but things move. So a lot of people came up with that idea as well, and then the industry now it became a standard in the industry. Now we have 3D site logistics or 4D schedules. And I started using Lumion because it was easy to use back. Well, it's still used, but back then you didn't require a super powerful computer to use and create renders. So I
Hmm.
started using Lumion. And
Very
then we
cool.
started getting like these more sophisticated workstations. And I started thinking, or so on YouTube, I always jump into YouTube and just type Unreal or 3D realistic or architectural visualization. And then one day I saw this one video that I had to pause it, and I'm like, no way this is 3D. Like this is a picture. Like this is a guy filming with his phone, and I'm looking for errors, right? Trying to see like, yeah, this is real life. But no, it was just a visualization made with Unreal. And but yeah, maybe I'm getting way ahead of the of your question. But yeah, that kind of answers how I deal with 3D visualization here at work.
Yeah, no, I loved your answer, and I had a similar experience with Unreal. It was there's this photorealistic cinematic animation made in Unreal called Rebirth, and I don't know if you've seen it. I saw it in 2018, and that was when I
Okay.
decided to go to Unreal, just
Uh-huh.
because I mean, and this was probably UE 4.1 something maybe. Um,
Oh yeah.
but it was photo real, and I couldn't believe that you could do this in real time, and that was a game changer for me. But
I'm saving it as to watch it later. I don't think I've seen it.
oh,
Rebirth. I
oh,
found
it's
it.
it's beautiful, and it's standing the test of time. So that also kind of excites me. But
Yeah, 5 years
so
ago.
yeah, yeah. And when we're talking about visualization, and just to understand your pipeline a little bit more. So you have perhaps your data in ACC, and then what would be or what is your preferred method of taking that data and getting it into a visualization engine? Um,
Well, the most of the times when I do visualization, that's before the project starts.
okay.
And at that time, we still don't have ACC set up for the project. It's
Oh,
just a Revit model that we receive from the architect. We
okay.
receive it. He sends a link by email. I download it, and then I open it in Revit, and then I pass it into. Unreal or to Lumion, depending on what needs to be done and if I have the time to make it photorealistic with Unreal. But if not, uh, we just open it straight from Revit, and from Revit we use plugins to export to whatever format I needed or software.
Yeah, well, and that may be something that I don't fully understand. I guess and this is perhaps a pre-construction phase where,
Yes.
this is just the architect at this point, and the architect will create a Revit model, and then they'll hand that off to you. Is that
Yes. Yes,
interesting?
correct. Is during you said it perfectly during pre-construction. So the building is not considered 100% complete. So we just get it in one of those early stages. It's divided by stages in the construction world. You have stages. The last one, the one that is considered completed, it's called CD, which stands for construction documents. It
Okay.
means that we are in the stage to produce the drawings, the plans, the
Mm.
official contract drawings. Before that, we have DD, design development, and it's during that one, DD, design development, when we start getting kind of like a stick peek.
Mm.
The architect, he says like, hey, we're in design development stage, so it's almost ready. So here you can see a copy of this model, and we can start doing our magic or start analyzing it just to see if we're gonna have issues and and help them fix stuff because it's still in an early stage.
So is that and so if we think about those stages, is what is the first stage? Is that the yeah,
Conceptual.
okay. Uh,
CD, well, it's conceptual design. We just call it during conceptual phase. That's when it's in a napkin.
mhm.
When
And then we go to DD after that. Is that correct?
from conceptual, yes, from. Am I missing one? I haven't thought about this in many years.
Mm-hmm.
Massing, there's a part where it's just more than anything, it's just masses. I just don't remember if it has its own
Hmm.
name. I'm sorry for if there's anyone in the construction industry seeing this right now and just twisting like, come on,
Yeah.
this is it. Like I just saw it on school.
Mm.
But yeah, there's so it's like conceptual, and then so where you're just playing with masses, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your design, development, and then construction.
Gotcha. And then so when do we switch from not using ACC to using ACC? Um,
When it's 100% official, we're building it, that we're gonna start deploying people to the field.
mhm.
Now it's the time when I need to make sure that we have an ACC platform, project set up in that platform for them and for me and for everybody, for the sub trades and everything.
Gotcha. So when the building, there's a decision made to actually build the building in real life, we may not have all the duct work fully figured out at that point. Is that a fair statement? It kind of.
We have a so when we start to build something, it means that we have all the sheets, right? All the paper, all the contract drawings.
Hmm.
And inside those drawings, one of those pages are for ductwork, for electricity, for plumbing, and that was created by their respective engineers.
Mm,
But mm, that's kind of like a guideline. We should take those with a grain of salt because our sub when we hire the sub trade um, companies, the ones that are gonna actually put the stuff in the field,
hmm.
they start, reviewing those drawings and go like, yeah, we need to just change, we need to reroute this. Like, all right, I don't think this is gonna work, or this is a better optimized route. We're gonna be clashing here and there. So we end up having redesigning, but it's supposed to be ready to go from when we deploy, when it's when we jump into the construction phase, it should be ready to
Gotcha.
be.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah. Final version.
Yeah,
Yeah. So when does visualization come into play? What are some examples of when you're using visualization, and I guess the reasons or the use cases for it?
it's rare in the pre-construction more than anything in the pre-construction phase. Um, Several reasons. One, uh, even before pre-construction, when the project is not even ours,
Hmm.
when we are competing with other companies. So most of these projects they go through a bid process or they go through a selection of builders, and I'm just trying to get ahead of the game to show we are working on a next level, to make things prettier, to make them think about our presentation after they left the room.
Hmm.
So we want to show, well, instead of showing a site logistics, a 2D site logistics, we show a 3D, 4D site logistics. We're including schedule there. And so that's one of the main answers to your question before the project is ours. When we want to be, when we want to win the bid. Uh, Also, if the project is ours, but they required us, or there's really hard or difficult things about a particular project, that the best way to convey it is through through a visualization, a 3D animation. We do it 11 years ago. We were working on this hospital. This hospital is a staple in the San Antonio downtown. It's called Christus
Hmm.
Santa Rosa Children's
Hmm.
Hospital. And when everybody has seen it, even if they don't know what it is, it's when you're driving in downtown, you see this hospital that has a huge mural. It has artwork on one of the walls on the facades, which is an angel, kind of like guarding a kid, right?
Oh, cool.
And that particular project, it was ours already, but man, it's it's like 11, no, like 13 floors of scope. Eh, we have a lot of companies, each of those companies doing different scope of work,
Hmm.
and then we're dividing the whole project in different phases as well. So it was really hard to convey this into the paper. So I just created a model. I'm pretty sure if I look for it, I can find the model where it's rotating,
Mm-hmm.
and they can see the parts of the hospital color. This color in yellow, this part orange, this part is blue. Over here is purple. And just by that, the we had all the subcontractors sitting in the room looking at the model spinning, and in just 5 seconds of looking at something 3D, you can get an idea, right, of what they need to do or the area they're going to be working versus looking at several sheets.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and well, I'm a 3D guy, but I mean,
Yeah.
just being able to visualize it in, three dimensions and a dimension of time, like you
Yeah.
said for the 4D is extremely
And
helpful.
yeah, and then here comes my part of my wish list to use it even more when a project starts. We have in construction industry, we have this thing called the Mockup Wall.
Hmm.
So the Mockup Wall, it's a, do you know what is Mockup Wall?
No, sir. I've never heard
It's
that.
let me see. You think I can share my
Sure,
screen?
sure.
Maybe. All right. It's gonna be useless. I closed it, but I can just put I I was 100%. I had it open in in SketchUp, um, but this is a perfect example. So do you see here the result
Yes.
that comes here to the right, and all these results that are here, these are perfect. So So here you have brick, here you have what seems to be like stucco or concrete, and then you see all the different layers composing these type of walls. Here we have siding, so it's a different type of facade.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Here, this is a more um, general wall. So here you just see the brick, the possibly the insulation, and all the rebar here, the CMU behind.
Right.
So you have an idea of how what I wanted to do is to make a collaboration scene where where two people are standing next to that 3D. This is gonna be 3D, right?
Mm-hmm.
The guy that is teaching the the trainee, the trainer and the trainee, so to say. Uh, and besides that, you can move things. Like you have the ability to grab things in Unreal, like grab the brick and put it apart so you can see what's the next layer. And
Right.
there's this there's a collaboration template that is actually part of the Unreal thing engine, right? I just can't remember the name, but it's a collaborative uh, template, and it gives you the option to explode things.
Right.
And that's what I wanted to do to kind of explode the wall and then just hit the button to bring it back together, or even better, to grab or add some snapping components so that you can just grab the brick or the insulation or CMU, and as soon as you put it, it just snaps into place, giving you the feedback that you put it correctly, you know. So that's one of the things that I'm pretty sure is going to happen. It hasn't happened yet, just because I just haven't figured it out yet. But as soon as I do it, or I can that I learn it in a way that me and a couple of my BTC or BIM guys can reproduce that template or use it for different projects, then it's I bet you it's gonna become a standard here in the company and in the industry.
That is a super cool idea. Uh, Thank you very much for sharing that one. And believe it or not, we're already running up, or kind of run up on our time together. I do have one last question for you though, before we go.
Yeah.
How does streaming, or how would streaming tie into all this that you kind of shared when it comes to Unreal Engine and getting your projects out in the world? What is uh, do you see some ideas for streaming? How this could be used?
Yeah, so we're here in Bartlett Cocke, we're very technological. Even though you hear construction company, you might think about something boring or just people working in the field, but we actually have a lot of good pieces of technology, and we have VR headsets. So I wish to have a VR headset in the field.
Hmm.
The Over there in Corpus Christi. So we're all over Texas, over there in Dallas, in Austin, and I can be sitting here in my office, and these people, I don't have to go there in order to put the headset on them or tell them where to click. So it should be just something that they just put on. Safety is another big thing that I want to use. VR headset, for example, training. I didn't have the possibility of telling you how the 3D environment that I created for safety training, but that's another option. But for going back to the mockup wall, is for people just to put it on and start streaming this template or 3D environment that I created, that whatever is saved, because I don't know how that's gonna work. I guess it goes saved to one of your servers, kind of, so they can open it and they can start just playing with stuff that we create here. Or visualization doesn't have to be that one, but yeah, anything.
Cool.
Anything to be open in an office trailer.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I know we were kind of talking about this before we went live, but we do have that workshop with HKS in January, and we are going over
Yeah.
literally this using Collab Viewer template.
Can't wait.
So,
Can't wait.
so,
Yeah.
so please, you're definitely invited, and anyone else that would like to come, we are going to cover exactly how to do this in January. Um, Pedro, thank you so much for joining us today. Anything last comments or thoughts before we sign off for today?
Well, yeah, just comments. Just thank you for the opportunity to kind of express the where what's happening in the construction industry, how we are eager to to embrace uh, everything that is visualization wise. So on Unreal Engine, I'm not the only one. There's a lot of VTC people that when I mention Unreal, they go like, "Oh yeah, we started using it too," and so it's becoming a thing. Just the same way, just BIM became a thing 10 years ago. I think we're already there with visualization and 3D stuff, but more importantly,
Hmm.
game engines such as Unreal or Unity,
Hmm.
they're gonna be a standard. They're gonna become a standard practice in the construction industry at least, but it's gonna be a standard everywhere else too.
Yeah, it's a very exciting time for us to kind of see how this plays out.
Yeah.
Pedro, thank you again for joining us, and thank you everyone for tuning in today. This is Real Time Talk with Eagle 3D Streaming. I'm Quentin Anderson, and we'll see you on the next show. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Pedro.
Thank you.
Okay.